Morning. Welcome to Emotional Sunrise. I am your host, Layla Eden Bowder, here to share with you a little bit of real shit that's going down in my head. Most people think and tell me that I'm a tough, strong lady. Yeah. And physically, yes. Otherwise, actually, sensitive. I'm a sensitive lady, but I've been pretending for the last 39 years that I am not, for whatever reason. So, now that I know I'm sensitive and I have feelings and emotions, it's time to F around with those and figure out what's going on inside, which is something I've avoided doing most of my life. Expert status at being non-emotional. So, on the outside anyways. So what happens is you shove it down in and pretend it ain't there, and you just rationalize, or I do anyways, I rationalize or reason away whatever is coming up and just move on, ignore. And it's still in there, and it can cause actual physical symptoms because you're holding on your tension. It causes tension for me anyways, and you're holding on to it when you really need to process it, feel it, express it, and release it, I guess. So I wanted to share a little bit about that experience that I am having and some of the things that came up for me that I really feel like a lot of people would identify with and maybe would never say. But I don't care. I have no shame. I do have some, but I am open and willing to bear myself for the betterment and inspiration of other people to dig into what's going on, because I feel like we're so busy and tied up in all this nonsense all the time that we're not looking in to see what's really going on inside of ourselves, which is huge because that's what dictates what we see on the outside, because we are looking through a filter we have created based on our perception and stories that we tell ourselves quietly, subtly, and then they happen and we're like, what? Anyway, so this is some of the shit that came up out of me. I don't know if it's backwards on your side, I hope it isn't. It might be. But a lot of fears about being let down, abandoned, betrayed, disrespected, failing, looking stupid, rejected, just lied to, all the things that happens to us by, why do we do that stuff to each other? I have no freaking idea. It's uncool and unfair, but it happens. So we take that on as a story that's we're afraid it's going to happen again because it's happened before, and then it perpetuates again because we actually unconsciously put others in a position to make it real easy for them to do these things to us, which is insane, but real. So, quite the epiphany. The other thing is the shameful stuff, that's harder to identify with because it's more subversive, I guess. It's more underlying, and Who wants to talk about shame? Nobody. JP Sears does. But nobody really likes discussing it because it's shameful. It's a taboo kind of thing. And no one says, I'm ashamed of this or I'm ashamed of that. Like, no one says that. At least I haven't heard anybody say that anytime recently. So I'm ashamed of things that I've done in my past, decisions I've made, roads I've went down. Not proud of it. However, you do the best you can and you make mistakes, and that's how you get experience points in the old life game. And without knowing the wrong moves, how do you know the right ones? It's just part of the deal. You have to make the mistakes. And so you can hold on to feeling ashamed of things that have happened to you. Your perception of yourself, be ashamed of who you are because of how people have received you or not received you or told you you were ugly, a nerd, bossy, demanding, whatever things that they said to you. Those are some of the things I heard growing up. And well, my orthodontist told me I was homely looking, super nice guy. Anyway, stuff like that. You remember, you hold on to people telling you mean, shitty things. And somehow that attaches to some strong emotions and it stays inside there, and then you could be a really beautiful person and still have that in there, which is stoops, but it is. So there's that, and then there's other shames like not feeling responsible for other people and feeling helpless to be enough to help them, to save them from themselves. That's a weird one, but it's real. It's been real for me. And just what I might do, what I've done and what I might do. And what if people knew my secrets? Ooh, secrets. So anyway, there's all that stuff in there, and it's in the dark usually. It's hidden. We don't deal with it. We don't even think about it. We just are busy on Facebook or whatever, watching Game of Thrones or something. So processing these emotions and getting to a place of acceptance and release of past experiences that were traumatic, hurtful, very emotional, that just never really acknowledged or allowed to be expressed. It's important to dig backwards and go find those things and feel it, touch it. Ouch. It's not fun. It hurts. It's sad, but there is some solace in it. There is some peace in allowing it and recognizing it and acknowledging that it's valid instead of pretending that it's not and shaming yourself for having the feeling. That's sucky. Crying if need be, as I have been doing. So if you have ever felt any of these things, not abnormal, or at least I'm going to pretend that it's normal because I have all these feelings. I've also felt periods in my life where people don't care about me. I'm not important to them, or that I'm less important than other people. But I've allowed that, and I've taught people that it's okay to treat me like that because I have accepted it, and I have not asked for any priority or courtesy in the past, which is something I could have if I wanted. I just didn't ask for it. Seems simple. It's not that easy. It takes some shifteronies. So, anyhow, I hope that this helps somebody who's having trouble, like myself, with understanding what's going on inside. There's a lot of stuff in there, and we don't talk about the bad stuff. Everybody's supposed to be happy all the time. But how do you know happy if you've never felt sad? You don't. So it is perfectly fine to be sad. You don't need to cheer up. You will eventually, but it takes some time to be sad. It's okay. You can. Listen to some sad songs. I did. It was really good. Feel all of the feelings. They're important. You need them. I hope this helps you. It helped me. Yay. Talk to you next time.